Alright, what is going on everybody? It is your boy Bounty here, and as you can see, I am making a tier list video now. I know a lot of people have been making these, a lot of different YouTubers and all that stuff and content creators for this game, but I held off on it just because I wanted time with the game. Obviously, I don't want to just give like a really shitty opinion with just not having any experience playing the game, and I feel like now is the perfect time. So let's just get straight into it. Not even gonna hold anything back. My tier lists are a little bit different than everybody else's tier list. Let me just add a row above. So now we have everything organized. So let's get straight into it. Actually, no. This is a better title for S+. Plays a completely different game than everyone else. I think we all know who we're talking about. Baraka, no, it's not. Ashura, not even close. Johnny Cage, and Raiden. Raiden's little storm cell thing, you can flawless block it, you can practice it and learn the timing, but it is easily one of the hardest things to flawless block even with practice, because I try to practice flawless blocking that shit. I can get it relatively consistently, but when you're playing online, when there's obviously delay and all that stuff, it is so fucking difficult to do it in those type of conditions. Like, granted, the netcode on this game is good, and I'm so thankful for that, but even with the proper timing and practice and all that stuff, sometimes you're just gonna miss it. And when they pair it up right now with the strongest cameo currently, in my opinion, Cyrax, it's just even worse for you, because then you eat so much damage. And Johnny Cage, I'm pretty sure we all have seen what he can do as well. The pressure that he just puts on you, especially when you're on the corner. Also, that little dash thing that he has, I don't know the exact name for it, but like he dashes through everything, and especially if you have any gaps in your string, he can just dash at it, like dash out of your shit and then just punish you for it. It's crazy. Also, his meterless damage, I'm not gonna say it's like the strongest thing in the game, but it's really good damage. And the height meter, once he gets the height meter, the amount of damage he can do meterless, or if he spends meter, is like it rivals Raiden Baraka type shit. It's honestly crazy. If he were to have his powers, like if Liu Kang didn't fucking change the timeline and didn't remove his powers, and if he had his fireball that he had in the old games, he would easily be above Raiden, in my opinion. These two right now in this game, in my honest opinion, are just, they're a menace in this game, like 100%. And now let's go on to, because in my opinion, I feel like these two is no way. Like Baraka and Ashura and all these, they're very strong. I'm not gonna deny it. But compared to these two, it's a completely different thing, in my opinion. Let's go to S tier. Plays the same game, but much better than everyone else. Very good. This is a very good description. I'm just gonna put them on here first, and then I'm going to give my opinion. So let me see. Baraka, Kenshi. Who else do I see? Ashura, of course. Here's an interesting one. Ooh, Katana. Interesting. Okay, Kung Lao. Who else? Rain. I'm feeling a lot of Rain. Let's see. Where's Reiko? Reiko. Where is? Do I see anybody else interesting? Here's another one that a lot of people I'm probably gonna get shit for. Tanya. Tanya's the sleeper pick. These two, they can maybe switch. Maybe Kung Lao as well goes in front. But with the setups you can get with Katana in the corner. Shoutouts to Retro showing off all this Katana tech on YouTube and also Twitter. A lot of good stuff with Katana. Rain goes in front. Baraka, I'm pretty sure we've all seen what he can do, especially with Cyrax. But you don't even need the Cyrax for this. That's the crazy part. I've ran into players online where they have Scorpion. I've also ran into players online where they have the Kung Lao for the low hat. Even Kano with controlling more of the neutral with his knives, and also the ambush Kano ball. So there's a lot of ways you can play Baraka, and it still works regardless of what shell you have. Obviously, certain characters are better than others, like in terms of cameo. Like, I've never seen a Baraka Jax. I'm pretty sure that exists, but I've just never seen it, you know? You can really just, this character on itself, even without having cameo, is very strong. Same thing applies with Kenshi. But most Kenshis that I see have Sub-Zero or Frost as their cameo for obvious reasons, because they can set up the Sento stance. And they pretty much base their whole game around that. And the cool thing about Kenshi, I don't mean that in a good way. It's a very condescending, I should say. But Kenshi is like, he can just play his game. He has zoning. He has that The EX push, it's not as crazy as it was in like MKX, for example. Everybody knows what I'm talking about if you played MKX. But yeah, he's just overall, like what it says right here, he plays the same game, but much better than everybody else. Same thing applies with Ashura. Everybody knows that little forward 2 thing. I think it's forward 2, that move where it's just like the fucking range on that thing is insane. It is a high, you can neutral crouch it, but God, if you get hit by that thing once, and then they do that the rising uppercut thing, and also if they use the meter, they can do aerial normals afterwards. And yeah, you can block it, you can anti-air if you get it, but if you mess up that timing, or if they have certain cameos, for example like this one, then obviously you're gonna have to hold that because the block pressure, they're obviously doing that on purpose for you to hit a button. Same thing with Kung Lao. Kung Lao, ironically, using himself is really good. I find that kind of funny in my honest opinion. Kung Lao also with Goro very strong because as we've seen with some players in online tournaments as well as other things, he has a safe armored launcher that he gets access to with Goro right here. I think it's back forward 2, the enhanced version. I'm not too sure on the exact name of it. If you block it, you call in the Goro, keep yourself safe. If it hits, Goro gets the hit, launches them, Kung Lao does his combo. I think it's about like almost 40%, which is crazy on a safe armored launcher. And also his pressure that he has is like really good, especially when you pair it up with the Goro, like I said, to keep yourself safe. Same thing applies with Katana. You can pair Katana with Goro, Cyrax. There's a lot of different ways you could do it. I'm not really too sure about the exact nuances that Katana could do. Reiko, we've all seen what he can do. The range on his buttons especially is fucking insane. The command grab, he has no tick throws compared to somebody like Geras, and a lot of people find that a problem, but he's still up here. He's still very strong, especially when you have the Darius cameo. This character hits like a fucking truck, and if he gets the read, so say for example, if the Reiko player is constantly jumping in and you're scared to anti-air, you finally want to up block, and then he does his command throw, just quit the game. Like literally just quit the game, because that does like 600 damage, and especially if you're going up against a character with low health like Geras or Nitara, just like it's over at that point. Rain, we've been seeing a lot recently. I honestly feel like Rain off the jump was really good just because of the utility that he provided, especially when people found out that you can Kara cancel his forward 3 overhead into a throw. Also his fireball, the little water beam that he shoots out, water dragon jutsu from Naruto, you can cancel that. So if you get somebody, for example, like a Cyrax cameo to do some pressure, you hold your fireball and you don't know if you're gonna let go of the fireball to catch them maybe pressing a down 1 or a down 3, or if you're gonna cancel it to get even more pressure. And also his damage isn't necessarily too bad, and also his zoning is pretty good. In a game with relatively weak zoning compared to other NRS games like Injustice 2 or Mortal Kombat X with a full auto Jaggy, he's actually pretty good in this game. And Reiko, his ninja stars that he throws is absolutely insane in my opinion. Tanya is another one. She is very, very, very annoying. Annoying in the sense of not annoying like Johnny Cage, Raiden, Baraka annoying, but more so like I can't seem to hit this fucking character. Now obviously I do use Nitara and I do use Geras. I don't know if you all have seen my videos of me using my Geras, but every time I ran into a Tanya, especially now that I've hit Demigod, I've ran into about 5 Tanyas now. Tanya players are just really good, and I've noticed that they're running a Goro or that they have the Kung Lao for the low hat, and it's honestly crazy because her drill becomes safe with the Goro, similar to Katana, and if it hits, you get the launch. And with a character like Tanya, who has a lot of zoning tools, a lot of zoning capabilities, the Goro keeps it safe. So it's very, very annoying just to try and hit this character, and when you do, it's also annoying just to keep her down. Let me give this a better name. Let me put this in quotes, because if not, people are gonna roast me. Mostly, quote unquote, honest, with tricks up their sleeve. Geras. Perfect. He's the perfect example of this. He's very honest. He has a few tricks, obviously with the time stop. He has a command grab with tick throws. He only can do it off of forward 1, forward 1, 2, and down 3 to my knowledge. Havoc is another one. He has a few tricks up his sleeve. We've all seen his zoning. We've all seen the tether that is unblockable, all the stuff like that. Is he up there with these characters? Absolutely not, but he can definitely hang around and definitely, you know, he can hold himself down. Not too good compared to other characters, but he definitely can. Melina is another one. Maybe arguably S, but I feel like I haven't really seen too many Melinas right now that may make me feel like she's S. Maybe on the upper echelon of A+, of the mostly honest. Who else do I see on here that's interesting? Scorpion. I feel like a lot of people are not talking about this. I feel like Scorpion low-key is pushing it. I think he is. Nah. Liu Kang goes up on here, now that I think about it. So Liu Kang, if you think about it, he literally has everything. He has a fireball, he can zone. His pressure up close, obviously it's not close in terms of like Raiden, Johnny Cage, or Kung Lao pressure, but it's pretty good. Like his staggers and all that stuff, obviously you can poke out of it, but that's the whole point of staggers, is like you don't know when you're gonna stagger a string or if you're just going to continue the block string and like catch them trying to hit a button. So you can't really use that logic because there is a mind game behind it. Also, his damage meterless is pretty good, I'm not gonna lie about that. And also he gains access off his back throw. If you have the Kung Lao cameo, you can get, what is it, I think like 25% off of a back throw, which is insane, and that's actually kind of crazy. Also, his anti-air with that teleport is genuinely the craziest thing I've ever seen. Like, I'm not gonna lie, in terms of consistency, it's super fucking consistent. If like, for example, in the Nitara matchup, obviously she is my main character, like you really have to play around your maneuvers when you're doing your air dash. You kind of have to read if they're gonna do the teleport or not, because sometimes they do and sometimes they don't because of the air dashes. But if you do it too much, if you just blindly jump in without doing anything, you're gonna eat that teleport every single time and you're gonna eat a combo for it. Gears, like I said, not really much tricks. Havoc as well with the tether. He's very honest in my opinion. You can say he's A, but the only reason why I put him here is because with certain cameos, back 3 into the Goro is a combo full screen, so you can get full screen combos with this character, which is crazy, off of his back 3. If you hit a random spear in terms of like trying to hit them, throw a fireball or something, if they're trying to zone you, and if you get a combo after it, you get relatively good damage for hitting just a normal raw spear, which is insane. Also, his chip, if you pair it up with the Cyrax cameo, if you use his down back 2 and then you use the Cyrax to keep it safe, that's a lot of chip damage. Also, his damage meterless isn't necessarily too bad. He doesn't really need meter, and when he does use bar, that shit hits really hard. And Shang Tsung, I'm pretty sure we've all seen with his zoning, with the stance switch, also the pressure that he gets when he's in the old stance. I forget the string, it's like forward 4 something, it's a very long string. Then we go to A, just gonna say pure honesty. Li Mei, Smoke, Sindel, and I think that's everybody. These 3 characters, they have their faults 100%. So Li Mei, obviously, like she hits like a truck, but like once she's essentially a glass cannon, similar to Nitara. Once she's in, it's scary as fuck. But like when she's put on that end as well, it's almost like not a threat at all. Smoke is he's like how should I explain this? He's a well-rounded character. He can't really like zone. Obviously, he doesn't have a fireball, but like what he thrives off are the 50-50 overhead low mix-ups, his cancels to keep him safe. He really has to commit to that, and if you know he's going to be doing those things and if you block it correctly, you can punish him just as hard as he hits you. So if he does get the hit, obviously you're going to eat the damage. And similarly to these other characters like Scorpion, for example, if he does spend the meter, he does hit hard. But if you do the exact same thing to him, he also is very weak to that. So if you get him in the corner, his wake up isn't really too good in my opinion, especially with Nitara. You can actually just break it almost every single time. Similarly to Sindel, she's mainly known for her zoning, her pressure. I forget the name of that string, but it's the one where she turns her back to you and then her hair comes out or whatever. A lot of people are putting her here simply because she has the infinite, but I feel like if we're not taking the infinite into account, if we're just thinking about what we knew before they discovered the infinite, I'd honestly say she's here, maybe A, like on the upper end of A, bottom A+. If you just get outplayed by a Sindel player, you honestly just got outplayed in my complete opinion. Now let's move on to the final tier. The final tier does not mean trash. Does not mean trash. It does not mean that. F is trash. C is close to it. This is just, if you want to win a tournament, let me put this in parentheses too, offline events, because online is different, then do not choose these characters. Nitara, Reptile, General Shao, Sub-Zero. You can win online tournaments with these characters. I've seen it before. You can even look it up on YouTube. Nitara won a tournament. Havoc won CEO Taku. I think Honeybee won one with Reptile. I'm not too sure. I'll have to look back at that. But if you are serious about winning any tournament offline events specifically, do not use these characters. Like, I'm being completely honest. The amount of gaps in Sub-Zero strings is honestly insane. Same thing applies with Reptile, General Shao, and Nitara. And when you're going up against a character like Johnny Cage, I went up against a Cage player. I wish I was recording this. He actually knew the gaps in Nitara's strings, and I had never felt more hopeless in my entire life playing this goddamn video game. He knew about the gap in forward 1 too. Most people don't know that there's a fucking gap on that string. So suddenly my pressure just off that just gets deleted, because even with my Kung Lao low hat, there is still a gap between the forward 1 and the low hat. And if you do the forward 1-2 overhead, there's a gap in that. So unless I just do a raw forward 1 and read that he's going to do that dash and try to punish it, I'm pretty much in a guessing game of hitting one single button. And the crazy thing about his dash 2 is that her normals are so stubby and so short that when he dashes, most of the time she can't even punish him for it. For Sub-Zero, his I think it's back 1, that has pretty good range. But like I said, everything about him, he has so many gaps in his strings. The damage that he outputs is so bad. You literally need to have the Cyrax cameo with Sub-Zero to even have a chance. The damage scaling that Cyrax can give you if you use him in combos actually helps Sub-Zero a lot. He can actually hit 30% with the Cyrax cameo, which is really good for him. But he doesn't really get much at all. And General Shao, I'm pretty sure we've all seen as well. There are a lot of gaps in his string. There is a bug right now with Shujinko. If you use the Shujinko cameo, and if you steal General Shao's axe and you do his move, he loses the axe for the entire game and he loses his special moves. If we were to take that bug into account, he is easily the worst character in the game. Reptile, I'm pretty sure we've all seen enough about with characters like Honeybee. There are also a lot of characters that play, a lot of players that play Reptile that have voiced their opinions on this. He's just missing a lot. Like what I said before, there are a lot of gaps in his strings. In terms of what other characters can do, it's like what I say right here. Plays the same game, but much better than everybody else. And it's just crazy. Everything that Reptile has, all these characters can do similarly. It's not exactly the same, but they can do something similar and get relatively better, if not the same results at worst case scenarios. But obviously, you gain the invisibility with Reptile, which in my opinion, it's there are setups to make it work, and I'm not gonna say that those setups are bad because they have their use. But he really has no mix despite all of that stuff. He has that string, it's like the low overhead string, and then he can use the EX Reptile dash to make it safe, or he can make it some form of mix-up if you try to counter poke afterwards, because like I said, there is a gap in that string, which is crazy. I'm just gonna keep the tier list right here. There is no C or F character in this game. When I think of F, I think a character that is absolutely unusable. I think of MK1 Shiva. I think of Zod versus Lex Luthor in Injustice 1, and there is nothing like that in this game. But there is a C tier character, and it's unfortunately these four, which I really like Nitara and I really like General Shao, and unfortunately they are bottom 3 characters in this game. But I hope you all enjoyed this tier list, and I will see you all in the next video.